slightly big tournament coming up with the Bassmaster Classic, right?
Bassmaster Classic. Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about the Coosa River reservoirs and specifically Lay Lake and what you might encounter there.
Yeah, Alabama system, Coosa River impoundment, mid-February. It's going to be a classic pre-spawn tournament, you know, so depending on the weather, they could be in their wintertime pattern, or if it's warm, they could be, you know, staging the spawn. So you've got a window there of those pre-spawn type fish, a mix of largemouth and spots, which is really cool, and it's neat to have two different species. So if it's cold, you're going to see the spots really dominate. If it's more on the warmer side, you'll see some big largemouth one. However it turns out, I can tell you one thing, you know, this won't be the kind of tournament where you win on one bait, one pattern. You're going to have to be able to be diverse and kind of junk fish a little bit, and I like that. So it's going to be a good classic.
Let's talk about a couple of the patterns that were successful there. We saw lipless crankbaits, we saw jigs, shallow jigs, and I think everybody had a backup pattern. But you mentioned also in the pre-fishing that you had a jerkbait bite.
Suspended jerkbait bite, yeah. I mean, anytime you're in that pre-spawn, you know, it's neat because there's so many things that are working. From the winter pattern, which is the little finesse stuff and suspended jerkbaits in deep water, all the way up to the crankbaits and lipless for staging fish, and even up to the flipping stuff, you know, when they start getting on the bank. So, boy, it could be anybody's game with any bait. Again, I think the key is keeping an open mind. You know, I have a term that I call fishing the moment, which means forget about your history, forget about what you did yesterday, and you fish that cast for that moment. And when you start doing that, and you listen to the fish, that's when you put yourself in a position to win. Yeah.
You'll be dealing with current water levels and, of course, temperature fluctuations always in February.
Yeah, a lot of variables. The obvious one is temperature. You know, it could be cold, it could be warm. Lake levels, you know, depending on the rain. They've had a lot of rain down there. And lastly is the current, you know, and we don't see that a lot in the Northeast or up here in the Midwest, but when you're on a reservoir that has generation schedules, you know, you've really got to get in tune to when that water is going to move or it's going to stay still. And the fish are affected by that change. So on man-made reservoirs, it can be a really, really tough bite to figure out. Yeah.